Hey Gemini, this is your November 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is your reading for the month ahead. Thank you for joining me. It's Romy. I appreciate you taking the time to tune into the channel. So we're going to open up this month with the energy of the Six of Swords. And you know, you are creating a safe passage for yourself in November. I hear you saying the phrase, something's got to give. And in a way, like, the truth will set you free. So even the acknowledgement of that. So if there's been something that has been held up, or where you've been investing your energy, or if something is out of balance, out of kilter, there's almost like an appreciation of just kind of going back to basics and actually asking yourself the very obvious questions of, does this feel good? Does this feel natural? And in those kind of illuminating moments, you're creating new structures that are going to support you for the things that you're trying to achieve. It also indicates to me that you have definitely emerged from what may have felt, for some of you, a more troublesome period. And certainly where there has been a lot of discord, we're now entering a month that is a little refreshing in terms of the clarity and also the progress that we're able to make. In fact, being able to make up for lost time is definitely something that you'll feel as you move through this month of November. We've got the two whales here that are almost again feeling like they're here to guide, but also here to protect. And yeah, we're never immune to receiving pain and going through challenging circumstances. But what you appear to be able to do, what you have done as a result of lived experience, is create this sacred space that you won't allow anyone or anything to tamper with. And that gives you the opportunity to reflect, to process, and to work on the things that truly matter to you. There is no right time, there is just time and what we do with it. And you perhaps may feel, to a certain degree, through the month of November, you're still in the in-between. You're still traveling. You're still moving to a destination or a point in time that you think will bring about some conclusion. The thing we need to remember, and it's especially highlighted in November, because we are all being invited to open our minds to the degree that we receive truth, and that we can really call out those false narratives. And that includes, by the way, when we are fighting, not with someone else, not with the world, but with ourselves. So the realization of where you have been getting in your own way a little bit. You know, we're also almost like facing some of the confusion and the conflicting possibilities and options and choices. You know, sometimes we think we have it all figured out and then we get lost again, and that's okay because there's always cycles within cycles. Now, Saturn stations direct in Pisces at 0 degrees on the 4th of the month. I actually think this, along with the fact that we have this incredibly luminous, powerful full moon in your sign this month, is bringing about some revelations, new information, and new options on the table for you, and you're moving directly towards them. You're moving directly towards them. So again, if you felt like doors have been closed or things have just not been moving, we have the floodgates opening, and we have, as long as we bring to the table the awareness of the lessons that we were meant to learn, and that is each and every one of us on an individual level. What did I learn about myself these last few weeks and months? What do I now want to make the change or create the adjustment? And, you know, again, this goes back to asking yourself these questions on a daily basis. Does this feel good? Is this taking me in the direction of something that, you know, I actually want? And there's beautiful research or information that I feel comes to light that helps you to kind of confirm, to ratify, to feel secure in the direction and the options and the choices that you're making, considering, or that you're moving towards. Okay, so I do feel like this is going to be a uplifting scenario for you, where you perhaps have felt like, to a certain degree, you may have been going round in circles. Now we've got 1111 portal arriving this month, and there's a really interesting aspect with Mars opposite Uranus, which does create somewhat of a tug of war. And there's also quite a shocking kind of slightly unpredictable nature to this particular cosmic conversation, it can create some disharmony. But here we've got High Priestess. Now remember, we're in Scorpio season where, we focus and we narrow the lens and we get very precise and we really want to unearth and discover. And as the High Priestess, like the information that you're being given access to, the downloads that you receive around that portal are eye-wateringly illuminating. And that's not just for you personally, it'll also mean on the collective level, because with Uranus really influencing this, we have this very galactic energy that comes through. So there's something in and around that time. And, it feels to me that where information has been hidden or held back, it just simply has to come out. It has to come to light. Now, this will also translate in as much as, you will see something spill out, the very sort of combination of this relentless, kind of ruthless, determined, scorpionic, investigative sort of feeling to get to the heart and the root, along with the influence of your full moon, which kind of creates that viral, fast moving news and information and messages. There's also a feeling that, what's meant to be revealed will absolutely come out. And you yourself may be the person that decides or that has something to share or something is initiated by. So the new moon in Scorpio comes in on the 13th. And again, we've got another opposition with Uranus, this time with the sun. And, this slightly erratic behavior can again bring about some extremes. And we are in the month of November at this kind of really interesting crossroads point where, we are deciding and choosing timelines, both individually and collectively. So there's a recognition and a powerful realization, but there's also for you, through the sense of, November's energy, a recovery taking place. And, where you may have felt some damage was done, maybe something has eroded your belief, your trust, then it's being rebuilt, perhaps not in the way that you fully expected, whether it be connected to a person or a situation. But remember, we have to give trust to get trust. We have to give respect to get respect. We have to give love to get love. But there's something around that moon that's offering this rebirth, because this is what Scorpio energy is helping us to kind of manifest within ourselves and our destiny timelines. But, there's also this sense of something recovering or being restored for you. And remember, in Scorpio energy, we're in 6th house, which is all about like how you make your way in the world in terms of the service that you offer. But it's also about the rituals and the day-to-day routines, the things that support you, which could also mean the people that support you. So there's some real kind of interesting twists and turns and conversations that perhaps you couldn't fully have envisaged were set to happen coming to light between the 11th and the 13th. And because of that Uranus influence, be prepared that much of it might be quite surprising, although I have a sense with your High Priestess that nothing will really come as a huge surprise to you this month. In some ways, Gemini. You also have to be ensuring that you keep your promise. And I sort of see you doubling down on something around the mid-month. And I think that's well worth the time to kind of explore within yourself. What intentions did I set? What was I trying to achieve? We've got a number of weeks left before the end of the year. And November affords us this like really interesting sort of preview into next year. And as I say that, we pull the Wheel of Fortune for you. So incredible opportunities, synchronicity, and some fated events that, again, are going to be difficult to truly foresee. But it's almost like you get fragments of the story that come up. So as we move past that new moon, we've got a really beautiful, auspicious date to look out for, November the 17th. We have a lineup where Mars will trine with Neptune, the Sun will trine with Neptune, and the Sun will also conjunct with Mars. So this kind of coalescing, this cosmic coming together not only affords us the opportunity to tap into some new ideas and inspiration, but most importantly, to take some really decisive, empowered, confident action in the direction of it. And I feel that there's something in and around that date that almost is like a setup energy or a preparation energy as you're given a glimpse into what's set to come your way through the course of 2024. It will make sense to you because you'll almost feel like, oh, like I just have a feeling that this is the direction I might be heading in, or that this is something that I might be getting involved in, or this is perhaps where this relationship is kind of taking me. So you will be getting that intuitive knowledge and insight, and best kind of really harness this. And again, you know, we remind you of this phrase, there's no right time, there's just time, and what we do with it. So if you're sitting in this sort of mid-month of November, trying to ascertain, you know, when is the best time to communicate this or to start or initiate, or, you know, it's almost a moot point. It just feels like if you feel inspired to do something in and around that time in November, even if not everything is aligned, even if it seems to go against sort of logical sense, you must follow that, because again, it's tied into this wheel. It's tied into something that destiny is absolutely laid out for you. And, you know, a lot of what's happening through the course of November is that we are being given the opportunity to explore the idea of change, but changing our mind, having a change of heart. We must give ourselves permission, as we do everybody else, the freedom to change. Because within that, infinite possibilities exist. So if new information comes to light, if you become informed or educated in a certain way, there is nothing and no one that gets to stand in front of you and say, you must stick to what you said, you know, today, yesterday, 5 years ago. This is about our growth, and this is about the recognition that more and more and more things are coming to light, and you have access to parts of yourself, to knowledge about the universe, to energies through different realms and dimensions. And so this is why the awakening portal that's activated through November is so incredibly powerful. And there's this like really beautiful dance that takes place when we move from kind of Scorpio into Sagittarius season, because, you know, Scorpio wants us to go to the heart, to the root, you know, to really kind of go deep into the shadows and the underworld to kind of discover things, and then give ourselves the opportunity to have that reinvention, that rebirth. Incredibly powerful energy that's zoned in. And then Sagittarius does, you know, in many ways the opposite. It gives us that breath of fresh air that lets us look at the big picture, that detaches somewhat and shows us what's on the horizon. And so when we combine these two things, it's a really formidable force to acknowledge how far we've come through the course of this year, but also to make sense of a lot of perhaps incredibly complex, messy situations that you might be going through and navigating, and kind of throwing your hands up in the air and going like, seriously, what does this even mean? Like, what is this even about? So as you're wrestling, perhaps with your angels and your demons, know that you're actually at the same time creating this safe passage through the course of November. And the Seven of Wands charges you up. You feel quite ignited and passionate and kind of ready to face things, ready to take things on, you know, ready to be challenged, because you're very clear about what you think, what you feel, what you stand for. And, you know, part of that will mean you will be swift and decisive in terms of the removal of anything that is toxic. And there's always going to be a drama going on, but if you didn't initiate it or start it, do we need to be a part of it? You know, we talked before about the fact that you might have realized just how much you've been fighting yourself. So, you know, if we address that first and foremost, you know, anything else that's coming at you is never going to feel as intense, because we're never as hard as when we're just being hard on us. Yeah, that self-criticism. So you're overcoming something, but you're doing it in a way that really demonstrates courage and bravery and confidence. And I think that, again, this is helping to rebuild something within you, Gemini. So if something got a little lost along the way, and you'd be forgiven for that happening, you know, this year's sort of, you know, beat us up a little bit. You might still be feeling somewhat battered and bruised in one or more areas of your life. And yet that sun, that lion energy is coming in to say, okay, like, we've got this. And not only that, I'm actually directly initiating and creating my own luck, creating my own opportunities, because I know what's ahead. I'm feeling into this energy that's kind of showing up for me. And I'm not afraid to change my mind, to change my direction. So Pallas Athena shifts into Scorpio on the 19th. And remember, she advocates for strategies and plans that are going to support us. And in Scorpio, she's ruthless, relentless to discover the truth, to bring incredible insight, and to offer up amazing, infinite possibilities. And the Eight of Wands, yes, the conversation, the news, the information. In fact, let's just jump to the full moon, because the full moon comes in your sign at 5 degrees on the 27th. Now, it's opposing Mars, so we do feel challenged. We do feel we may have to defend or justify something. And yet, look at the spark. Look at the kind of energy that's emanating from the heart. So what comes from you around that full moon? And not only is this also about a sense of accomplishment from what was initiated at the Gemini new moon, but your words carry weight. We need to remember our words can be weapons, or they can be tools to educate, inform, uplift, and create this sense of profound change, this catalyst. And this is what it feels like. There's a catalyst that happens around that full moon that helps you to feel charged up. And it does help you to be recognizing in yourself actually over something, but also perhaps recognized. And I think, again, this necessity for information, communication to take place that brings things up into the light is going to be driving you, but also all around you. So you may even be kind of invited to give perspective or opinion, or you in some way are connected to something that is being brought out. And whether that's close to home, whether that's at work, in your family, in your kind of social circle, all of this is kind of helping you to also expand your world and expand your mind. Now, we'll be in Sagittarius energy by then. The sun shifts into the sign on the 22nd. Mars moves in Sagittarius on the 24th. And this is your 7th house, so it's mirror season. So a lot of what you're seeing being projected towards you are invitations for you to address what your opinion and your feeling and your triggers are. But you're also going to come into contact with some incredibly interesting people whose message, whose form of communication, whose language is one and is such that you can kind of understand it in the very mercurial way that you have, to be able to access the higher mind and kind of go beyond. So it stretches you. And I think that's the other thing that I see really emphatically about this month for Gemini. You are stretched. You're stretched in your thinking. You're stretched in, what you think you're capable of. This is why the back to basics in the beginning of the month and the structures that you put in to support yourself and creating that safe space is going to be so vital, because we really need to ensure that you're kind of anchored and there's a foundation there to then be able to receive some of the more surprising, even shocking, even transcendent kind of experiences that are set to come through for you. So we're at this crossroads. And what we see kind of emerging, from November kind of through to the end of the year, is this feeling of the right people coming in at the right time. And even if it doesn't make immediate sense to you through November, again, because you're getting this preview of into next year, these are contacts, these are conversations, these are interactions, these are new people that you're going to be forging relationships with over time. So you don't have to necessarily have all the answers or have that all figured out, but you do need to be open and receptive to what destiny is bringing to your door. And you also have to be in a position where you're like, yes, yes, I am up for this. I'm open to this. Open mind, open heart will transform your experience through November. There's no rigidity that's going to kind of carry any weight or be helpful to you if you're so stuck in a certain way of something having to be a certain way. Because November is a time where it's going to show you so many different options and possibilities and shift the paradigm to the degree that you could get yourself really confused if you're not just willing to tap into some of that mutability that is part of the natural essence that makes you. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. I talk for another 30 minutes or so, but we also look at a personal question for you and a relationship card as well. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify these cards and see what else wants to emerge for us and the direction we will be taking this reading. This month, my guided soul journeys, we have a beautiful 11/11 energy activation. And just because of the nature of awakening through the course of this month, I also really tapped into dragon energy. I've got a couple of decks to use, but I've also created Dragons of Light soul meditation. So again, the opportunity, if you're curious, open, or already working with these dimensional energies, to be educated, informed, to connect, and really, again, expand your mind in the ways in which they're showing up to now teach us. Okay, Hierophant, 8 of Pentacles, Empress, beautiful. What about this 7 of Cups? You can find the links for these in the comment and description box. November, Gemini, is also a time where I release my seasonal offers. So you will find my sacred titles, the Life Soul Vision Oracle and book, Angel and Goddess reports, and also a very limited edition number of guide and gift readings that I've been doing every year. These are personal one-to-one recorded sessions previewing next year's energy for you individually. So just check out my website and my socials to ensure you don't miss out on the opportunity to secure one for yourself. Okay. Wheel of Fortune, Ace of Swords. Like we said, the truth sets you free. 6 of Wands, okay. These decks that I use are always listed as well below. Ace of Wands. Another High Priestess. Queen of Cups. Look at that psychic information. It's almost like, even in the conversations that you have, like words don't even need to be spoken. Like you just know, where people are coming from. You know what their agenda are. You know what they're up to. You know what they have to offer you, what they're looking for from you. So you're very informed. Yeah, nothing and no one is going to be pulling the wool over your eyes this month, which is good because it puts you in an empowered place, but also an opportunity to carefully reflect and consider, what do I want? Does it feel good? Okay, let's have a look at some oracle cards. This is Life Soul Vision, which is my own deck. Again, check out the offers for November on this. Third Eye Energy. We have the Collective Heart. Another dragon, of course. Rainbow Dragon, Wild Rose. Labyrinth of Sweet Surrender. We have the Sun. Earth Star Energy, Sacred Ceremony. Beautiful cards for you. Right, let's have a look at these dragon oracles. This is for Gemini for the month of November. Black Dragon. Cocoons you so that your divine potential grows. Beautiful. Okay, one more. We'll weave these messages into the extended reading so you get further clarity on their purpose for you. You know what? 2 came out, so I'm going to take them. Luna and Actramus. Okay, we will cover these off in the extended. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. Be sure to check out the seasonal offers and the 11/11 activation and Dragons of Light meditation. I will see you next month for our final soul story of 2023. I appreciate all your support this year. Take care and have a wonderful month ahead.